that time that Madrona headed home with us, they wouldn't let us leave without her being on phenobarbital, which I don't think anybody gives anymore. It's a pretty intense drug of the barbiturates.
Hmm.
And so that was because they had seen some evidence for seizure activity.
Yeah.
And she also had a G tube, so she would eat through a tube into her stomach. And yeah, it was the beginning of quite a journey of those type of medical interventions, and also the beginning of a search and a commitment on my part to not accept the diagnosis fully, to see it more as a starting point.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also to not feel disabled as a parent. If
Right.
disability is the topic we're in, disability is quite infectious. Even when you tell yourself you can't do something, pretty quickly you're right. You know,
Right. Right.
so
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. In
So
some ways, I think the labels can be a little bit harming, because you can let that limit you. I think depending on someone's personality too, you know?
yeah, yeah. So for us and for me in particular, like this idea of disability, I think back to how was I prepared to cope with a situation like that, and most of us aren't prepared at all. But I did have something in my upbringing that I realized later really kind of did give me some coping mechanisms. And so my dad had been a Green Beret in the Vietnam era, so Special Forces Army. And back then they didn't do a whole lot of post operative processing of any sort. There was no
Right.
debrief. And so then we ended up, of course, with this amazing amount of what we now know to be PTSD in
Hmm.
the veterans of that era. And as I thought about it, my dad has passed now, but as I thought back to the way he was in my childhood, I think that there was a lot of characteristics of that sort of repressed trauma that PTSD shows up as. And so one thing I think he did in his effort to offer love to me, it may not have looked like a lot of love at times, but was to make damn sure that I was strong. And because of that embattlement that he had been in the
Yeah.
war,
Hmm.
he knew the world was a scary and dangerous place. He didn't know what to do about it emotionally, but he knew that I needed to be strong for some reason. So this overcoming of challenges was from the beginning a part of my upbringing.